So, I've been talking about the last part of the series in the calling, and last week we started to wrap up the part of it that we called sacred embodiment. And during last week, and for those of you who didn't see it, you can go online and check it out. Just really quickly, I was just talking about, well, what is sacred embodiment? What does that mean? And what I said, it's the process of embodying whatever the calling is for you until you become it. I'm just going to read that again. It's the process of embodying whatever the calling is for you until you become it. So again, just remembering that the idea behind the calling is that you're going to have something that's poking you, prodding you, asking you for some area of your life that there's something that's wanting to change, it's wanting to grow, it's wanting to expand, it's asking you to actually become more than you have been. And in this part of it, the sacred embodiment is we already know what the how is, so we have figured that out. So in other words, what do I need to do for this calling has already been resolved. We're done with that. So there's nothing else that's left. And you know exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, right? There's something changed, and whether you're going to add something or whether you're going to let something go or whether you're going to change something we talked last week about, or maybe it's a combination of those things. You never know. It just depends on what's going on inside of your soul. And so there's this time of really, really genuinely connecting inside of yourself and really feeling like, what is this thing calling me into? What's the next piece? What's going on? And regardless of whether it's changing, adding, letting something go, you're going to be different, right? You're absolutely going to be different than you are at the beginning when this thing called you, right? We talked about that last week. And in my opinion, we have come full circle. And so if you've been following this teaching, if you've been following this, you know that it all started way back at the beginning. But this is what I wanted to share with you today because it's critically important. It's the same concept or the same idea that I talk about when I talk about this idea of walking into a gym. I've been using that analogy a lot the last couple of months, this idea of walking into a gym, walking in the front door, seeing all the equipment, seeing all these people with these amazing bodies, knowing that that's what you want, and looking at all of it and turning around and going, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's it. That's what I need to do, right? But you don't do anything about it. And the calling, even if we back it up even further than that, it's this idea or this concept that in order for it to happen, we have to start with something very simple. And it's so profound that it's often overlooked. It all starts with one simple act. And it's you asking this question: what now? What are you going to do now? I want you to understand, because of who and what you are, the universe can do absolutely nothing without you making a decision. You have to make a decision. Because why? One of the greatest gifts that we've been given is something called free will. And free will means, because of who and what you are, an amazing, powerful being, you're an aspect of the divine. It means you've got power to create whatever you want to do. If you want to go create heaven, go create heaven. If you want to go create hell, go create hell. You can do that. And the universe cannot stop you from doing that. Can't. So everything starts off with this decision, your ability to choose. A lot of things, right? Everything starts with the decision. You are sitting here right now, and the universe is waiting for you to make a decision on how you're going to move forward, how you're going to move forward this day, next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now. How are you going to move forward? Are you going to continue to live like a victim, or are you going to stand into your power and live like a powerful being? I want you to understand the universe is asking you that every single day. That's what the universe does. Because of why? Because of who and what you are. You are that powerful that you literally have the ability to change everything in your life right now. You can, right? And it's just waiting for you. The universe is sitting there going like, yeah, what are you doing? What are we doing today, Mike? What are we doing today? And so the question is, what now? Everything can change. But the problem is, we don't always believe that. So we start going back into these old beliefs we have of who and what we are and everything else like that. So what happens is often the case is that we settle for much, much, much less. We settle for less than who we really are. We settle for less of what we're capable of. We settle for less of what God is, of what God thinks of us, of what life is, and what life is really supposed to be about. Unfortunately, some of us think that we're meant to be down here to struggle, and it's supposed to be nothing but a handful of struggles and problems and everything else like that. And so guess what? You have free will, so guess what you choose? I guess life is supposed to be a struggle. Guess what life does? Oh, you want to struggle? No problem. How many people chose struggle for a lot of their life? I did. Guilty as charged. I really did. And so guess what? I had a lot of struggle in my life. And I leave you as we start concluding this series with this thought or this idea of just understand everything starts with a decision. Everything. Every day the universe is waiting for you to respond to these questions. And as I was preparing for this talk, I had a series of questions come up. Go figure. Isn't it funny how all of a sudden I'm flipping through something and these questions show up? And I'm going to share a few of them with you. And I don't know, if you guys really asked me, maybe I'd put them together on a sheet or something because I thought they were profound as I sat there and I looked at these questions. So the questions, is it time to live in truth of who and what you really are? Is it time? You're the one that's got to make that decision. Is it time to stop making excuses about how impractical, hard, or impossible it is to live in truth? Is it time to let go of all the religious programming that is based on power over versus power within? Is it time to move beyond outdated traditions and beliefs simply because they are comfortable and expected of you? Oh, man. Is it time to separate yourself from collective beliefs that strive to keep you in the status quo? Is it time to stop looking for family, friends, politicians, experts, priests, rabbis, or ministers to tell you what to believe? Or is it time to claim your power now? And I leave you with that question. As I was thinking about this, there's some times when there are incredible examples of people that are literally within our congregation who I see something has changed incredibly. I thought it would be really cool to have that person come up here and share some thoughts. Scott, I'm going to ask you to join me for a few.
This one's for you.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, pull her up. I can't tell you how exciting this is. So I think many of you know that Scott and I go way back, long time. And I think the thing that has blown my mind is I watched you. You went and you moved to Chicago. You started your career. You started having children. And when we were super young and doing what we were doing at Unity at the time, Scott was a regional rep when he was way back in YOU, very involved, very active, Unity. And then life started happening. And it doesn't mean that it necessarily went anywhere, but it just meant like he was busy living his life and getting on with it. And then all of a sudden, we started having a conversation a little bit over a year or so ago. We did a couple of things together. And then I'm just sitting there thinking like, well, this is my buddy. I love him and I'm supporting him and everything like that, hoping that he does whatever he wants to do to make himself happy. And all of a sudden, I'll never forget this. You get a call and you go, oh my God, dude. There is something that is going on. So I think that's where the jumping off part is. I mean, I would love to hear about that.
So you talk about how, we did so much spiritual stuff when we were younger. We were meeting daily, doing meditations and group work and stuff like that, along with going to Unity of Livonia. And we bonded. We were buds. Mm-hmm. From the moment you walked in, we were brothers. And then you're right. Life moved and life happened, but life was still centered around truth. All my teaching, all that calling that I mentioned to you about becoming a teacher, that still was spirit moving through me. That still was using Unity principles, the tool belt, and transferring it on to the kids I was teaching. And then having children and them being in that mental and spiritual and emotional space all the time as I raised them. But last May, that calling that I talked about with all of you when I did my lesson back in September up here, where we talked about sacred listening and sacred action and sacred discernment. Well, I embodied that for 30 plus years. That was my teaching career. That was who I defined a lot of who I was as a person. It's so purposeful That was the end of last school year. That year, that was it. That was no more. So I guess you could say that the ground was fertile for something more to come along, for perhaps another calling. And somehow, like Mike and I, throughout the years, did not really talk a lot about the church here. So I wasn't on, the newsletter. I wasn't following Unity Spiritual Community of Grand Rapids on social media. I'm not sure I even knew it was called Unity Spiritual Community, to be honest. But somehow I got wind that Mike was doing a class on goal setting. I'd done a lot of goal setting in my life. I knew the Unity perspective on it. I didn't really feel I needed that. But what I did feel very strongly about, the one decision, right? A decision was, I want to support my friend. I want to show him I love him. I want to be part of it so that workshop is successful. Not because of me being there, but just having people sign up. So I registered. I don't even tell you that I registered. I knew he'd know that the name was there when he looked at the registration, but I still thought it'd be cute not to say anything and then just show up the first day on Zoom. So it was a hybrid class, so there's people Zooming, but there was also people in person. And about the fourth class in, it got moved from Wednesday to Thursday, and I was coming in Friday to work with Mike on some stuff, some spiritual stuff, some heart chakra stuff. I decided I'll come in Thursday night and be in person, come to the church and be here in person with the people that are here in person. So it was a little bit late getting here, so the class had started, and people were commenting. I was commenting as I was driving in my car, got here, walked in, and boom. The energy just exploded. I wish I could put into words. You hear people say it all. Like Carolyn talked about it today. Come up here about walking in, then feeling the energy when you walk in the doors. And it's true, and it's true every day that I come here. And I'd been in this church before. It just resonated so strongly and so deeply. And John was here, John Martin, Erica was here, and a lady by the name of Karina was here. And Mike was in his office continuing to do the Zoom and teaching the class from there. I don't know if the four of us heard another word Mike said for the rest of the class. We were all talking and giddy and laughing and sharing. It was just a wonderful experience. And then the following day, we did our heart stuff, and that was a whole day of stuff. And walking Mike's property, if you ever get a chance to go up there, it's so phenomenal. So it was great, right? But I didn't know it was a calling. I didn't know something. I didn't know it was sacred listening. I didn't know. I went home.
Well,
right?
I got to jump in here for a second because we have this session we do together. You just never know. And so I'm sitting there thinking, well, that was nice. I hope.
Yeah, I hoped it helped.
And then radio silent.
I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do it with him for the longest time. Like days before, I'm like, dude, I don't know. And so boom, it happens. And then radio silence.
Right, radio silence for about a month or so. I forget how long it was. And then all of a sudden, I'll never forget the phone
I
call.
call him up and I'm like, dude. I don't know if I actually said dude. I am exploding with energy. I am so in tune. I feel stuff. I am so moved. I'm coming into church. I'm coming in. I'll see you Sunday. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I live in Chicago. So coming into church for me is a 3-hour drive, right? And that has become part of the fun. Like, I like saying that to people because then, of course, I get what I expect back. 3 hours? Chicago? Really? And I go, yeah. Yeah, 3 hours. I'm cool. But what's remarkable about that is just a little bit of being in a calling, being in the flow, is those drives just fly by. Look, I'm not saying anything spiritually spooky here or anything. I don't know. But it's a 3-hour drive. It just is. When I get up on a Sunday morning and drive in, now, mind you, the road is clear. There's no one out there. I am doing 80 miles an hour. But I get here in 2.5 hours. That's not supposed to happen. Not 2.5. Maybe you take 10, 15 minutes off of it, but come on. It's meant to be, and that's what embodying the calling is for me. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm meant to be. This has become my home. As I moved on and moved into it and became more clear that it was a calling, I realized in that moment that I was in this church, October 12th, 2023, about 6:30 at night, Eastern time. That's when I was here. That's when I walked in the door. I fell in love with this church. And over the last year, I have fallen in love with so many of all of you. So many of you.
So talk to me, though, because what I noticed is something inside of you shifted. There was no questions asked because at first, I'm going to be honest, like you call me up, the dude, like something's going on. I'm like, yeah, right, Scott. I've known
I
him for a
don't sound
long-
like dude. I don't sound like.
But my point is this, is like, I'm happy for you. Great. I'm glad something is going on here. I had no idea how much he had changed. Something shifted, and it's palpable for me ever since that happened.
It's palpable for a lot of us, for
Yeah,
me especially, and for a
yeah.
lot of people here. They notice. I mean, it's impossible not to notice that over the last year, I've just become. I don't even know if they're happy, but I'm here. Can you help out with the AV? Oh yeah, live feed. Okay, I got it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you help out with a Kitchen Angels? Oh, I'm chopping up food,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Can you help out with a dinner? I show up out of nowhere. They were having one of the monthly dinners, and it was at a pizza place. And I didn't, again, I like not telling people. So I didn't tell anybody I was coming, and I just showed up, and everyone's like, oh my God. What shifted in me, what moved? I think that my expression of spirit through my teaching career and in my life in Chicago, while it was an expression of God, while it was an expression of unity and spirit, it just wasn't as pinpointed. It wasn't as honed. It wasn't as specific. And this church and you have given it a boom, a grounding point. And I think that's what happened when I got here those 2 days. Boom. Because again, I have known Mike for all our life, more than 20 years. How long have you been in Grand Rapids?
Over 30 years.
So 30 years, coming in here probably quarterly with some of our other friends. So 30 times 4 is 120 times visiting this place. Never felt anything like that Thursday when I showed up here. One of the things that I've realized is like I would come in and visit him and have to drive here. And I would ask almost every time for directions because I wasn't embodying it. I wasn't, bringing it in. I wasn't making it part of me. I can drive down 28th Street now and name the stores. I know this place. I just know it.
Yeah.
Because I belong.
Yeah.
I hope. No, I do.
So what now?
Well, that's the question today, huh?
Yeah.
What now?
Yeah.
Well, a great part of a calling, I think, is that what now is just continuing to take action. I don't know. I have no idea what now. What I do know is that I really enjoy participating in just about everything I can, whether it be a fundraising dinner and cooking and serving people out here in the fellowship area, which was a blast, or again, being part of a game night. But what really has rung true, what really has become very, very powerful for me is being up here on the stage, being up here and sharing with you, being able to give of myself and connect with all of you from this perspective and this spiritual expression, whether it be giving the announcements, which is so much fun because I put so much energy into it, because I have so much love and I feel so good and I get such good feedback from that. But then that Sunday lesson that I did. Now, there was a Sunday lesson back in June that I was able to do on Father's Day, but the one September 22nd was really profound for me. It was just really, really profound. It was like a graduation day. It was like sitting for, what do you call it when you get a doctorate? And you have to sit.
Thesis?
Yeah, it was like sitting for a thesis.
Yeah.
It was like, and no one was questioning me, but I was questioning myself. I was putting myself out there. I was something that I really had prepared for and wanted to do well, and Spirit just moved through me as I was preparing it. It was a very beautiful experience. Yeah.
Do you want to share?
Oh, so what now? So again, I don't know for sure, but what I do know, so key is staying in present moment. It's really, really important to stay in present moment. If I get too far ahead of myself and I think, okay, I'm in this calling, it definitely has to do with Unity Spiritual Community, with all the things that I'm doing here. If I start thinking, okay, now what does that mean a month from now, a year from now? That's not where I need to be here right now. I did that service with a number of people saying, are you a minister? Do you want to be a minister? How come you're not a minister? So guess what's come to the fore of my mind? Becoming a minister. Now, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. But what I do know is right now, right here, right now, I'm taking 2 classes that are steps towards that happening. So,
Yeah, and I cannot tell you.
in 1 year.
Well,
In 1 year.
And what a great, and that is really the part that blows my mind, is to see in 1 year. And that's the thing I hope every single person in this room takes away is Scott's example of literally what can happen in 1 year. And I know right now there are some of you that are going through a very, very difficult time. I know you are. And all I'm saying is, in 1 year, what a difference. I cannot possibly thank you for your light, your love, for the example that you share with us, for everything that you have given us over the last year. Couldn't be more grateful.
Well, I can't tell you how thankful I am that you've been doing this as long as you have, and I finally got a clue.
All right, man. Thanks, man. I love you. All right. I know I got people going, come on, wrap it up. Anyway, no, not Scott, me. So, did you learn something? Was that good? Was that helpful? I mean, I really hope these times we have together, we mix them up a little bit, we share with you some of the different things that were going on, with the idea of just hoping that you're able to remember who and what you are, that maybe there's a word, maybe there's a sentence, maybe there's a hug, maybe there's something. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for sharing your light. Thank you for sharing your love. Thank you for being here. I know sometimes it's not easy to get out of bed in the morning, but if we do it together, then it makes it just a little bit easier, a little bit better, and we help each other and we support each other in our own walk, as Ram Dass says, as we walk our way home. And having said that, thank you, thank you, thank you. We got some great soup and some other stuff going on. God bless, namaste, and namaste. I love you.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.